Bonjour, monsieur.
Good morning.
How are you?
Pretty good.
You got snow up in Maine there?
Well, it's supposed to start around 8 o'clock. It's gonna go for 24 hours.
I am in beautiful sunny Florida.
Are you? What?
Yeah.
What part?
Port Richey, it's about an hour north of Tampa.
Yep.
So I've been outside all week doing projects around my brother's house, and most of the weather has been great. It was a little bit chilly yesterday. Chilly being 60 degrees.
Yeah. I think it's 26. Last time I looked, it was 26 here. So anyway,
Now, how close are you to Portland?
about 15 miles.
Oh, so you're real close, yeah. My brother has a place in Parsboro, Nova Scotia. Do you know where that is? You ever heard of that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
My father was born in back of Lunenburg. It's called New Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
Just up the coast.
just up the coast a little.
Yeah.
Speaking of Canada,
Doug is on, I see.
I don't know if he's actually connected yet.
I called you a couple of times from when my wife and I lived in Florida. In Zephyr Hills, I called you were online. And I was listening to you and I finally called.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember that. That was years ago.
hey, Doug,
Doug,
Gentlemen, good to see you.
we're just talking about, I'm in Florida, my brother's place. And then he also has a place in Parsboro.
Okay,
How far is that from you?
not very far. Not really.
Can you go over and cut the grass for him?
Don't say a word. I've been telling everybody I've been talking to that I cut the grass yesterday.
Oh,
But as of yesterday, we have snow here now.
Marshall says it's not started there yet.
That's been the first snow we've had.
wow.
We've got to be maybe a foot.
This, according to the Weather Channel, it's in the Portland area. It's supposed to start around 8 o'clock tonight and go 24 hours. So
Hey, go ahead.
Wow, Mike, you're taking this past president thing like really seriously with your Hawaiian shirt.
I'm in Florida. I actually am. I don't know
Yeah.
if you know that. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
that's why I put it in capital letters. And we're
Marshall,
talking
that's
about
snow. You're getting some
various
snow?
levels of snowfall and it being about 73 down here.
Oh.
poor baby. Hey, Mike, how far is Peaceboro from Providence?
Parsboro,
No, I thought it was Peaceboro. My brother was born there.
Peacedale.
Peacedale, yes.
There's a Peacedale. Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
the University of Rhode Island is.
Okay.
That's about 25 minutes, 30, half hour, depending on traffic. It's also towards where the beaches are. So if it's summertime, that half hour could easily be an hour.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Peacedale.
most of the time, that's not far from my office. So I live in downtown Providence. My office is in Exeter, which is just kind of north of Peacedale.
Okay.
So I'm about a half hour, depending on rush hour traffic, 35 minutes. And then I have Amanda to get on the road and tell me what the traffic's going to be like.
Yeah.
I hate when they make me do those live shots. I'm like, here's the road and rain coming down and people's brake lights.
So Amanda, rehearsal must be officially over.
Yeah, it ended at 7.
Doug, is Seventh Wave, are they still around?
No.
No?
The individuals are, but they're not around as a group.
they were a fun group to listen to. I loved listening to them.
Hmm.
Doug, what year did you join?
What year? It's 56 years this year.
Okay.
What is that? 67, is it? I think something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if you were at the Boston Convention in 65 or not.
Um,
Oh, that would have been, it would have been a few years after.
I think
So
so.
you joined when the Statesman won,
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
67. Oh.
Yeah.
Were you involved with that show that we did when Grandstand Vocal Band was in Halifax? And there was an Air Canada strike and we were stranded.
Oh, man.
Remember that story at all? No?
I bet you didn't forget it. No.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't forget it.
No. Oh, we had somebody who knew somebody. Hi, Mike. As traditionally barber shoppers do. There we are. We wake up Sunday morning expecting to fly back to Logan to go to work Monday morning. And our host, where we were staying, says, "Don't rush. There's an Air Canada strike that they pulled on the spur of the moment." So we sat around the house for a while and we said, "We got to get home. We all got to go to work." And so he managed to get us on the Blue Nose somehow. And we sat in the captain's cabin, the four of us, got back to Maine, rented a car, which wasn't easy. Renting a car, 7 o'clock Sunday night.
Oh, yeah, no.
Then we drove back to Logan, got back to Logan in time to get our own cars and go to work Monday morning.
Perfect.
Hey, John. Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Don't say a word. My son was on the Blue Nose for 3.5 years.
Couldn't get off because he didn't pay, or
No, no.
like Charlie on the MTA.
He worked on the Blue Nose for 3.5 years, and one of the trips that he had to take, poor thing, he went from Halifax to San Francisco.
Wow,
Now that was a trip.
that's not the kind of boat I think I'd want to be doing that on.
Oh,
The Northwest Passage or around to the canal.
yeah. He likely would have gone that trip for no money. But
Mike,
you know,
don't ask me any tough questions. I'm in Florida.
Not allowed to think in Florida, huh?
I think we still need one more. If I'm no, 7 of 13. Well, no, I guess we're okay, Mike.
All right, we might have Katie, are you with Carol Lee?
Hi, this is Carol Lee, and I'm home, and she is not here yet.
Okay.
Amanda's gonna drive.
Yeah, I'm driving. Katie told me that she was gonna head home and join from home
Okay,
because of the.
the weather's kind of bad here.
All right, we got Matt joining now too.
There we go. That makes it easy.
So we're good?
Yep, that we're good.
All right. And it's 7:30. Thanks everybody for joining our first regular board meeting of 2023.
There's Dick.
One quick comment from me before we get into the agenda. I'd like all of you to, all of the board members, please email me your availability for one-on-one meetings. I like in the first half of the month to have 15 minutes or 30-minute call with everybody just to touch base and see what's going on. We plan on doing that monthly, so if you could email me what are good days and times generally for you to do that, and I'll set those meetings up with everybody. Glenn has already verified that we have a quorum, so we can move into the general business category. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? Anything else that we need to talk about that you didn't see on the agenda?
Mike, there was an inquiry from BHS about digitizing, and would it be appropriate to talk about that budget at this point?
Let's talk about that when we get maybe to the budget discussion.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes from our January planning meeting. Glenn, you still haven't gotten out minutes from the December meeting, is that correct?
No, I still have, I need to get those transcribed. I'm sorry.
Okay. Were there any comments on the planning meeting minutes?
Not here.
It was a great meeting. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Katie, yeah, wherever.
Make a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January.
Everyone in favor?
Yeah,
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
yeah, hearing no objections. We can go with the fast rules.
Sounds good. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and stick with third Sunday as the regular time, but if we leave the start time at 7:30, it gives enough time for the VU folks to either get home or almost get home or get to Carolese or whatever makes sense given the weather. So what's the next one then?
Let's see. It should be, I got it right here. Tuk, tuk, tuk. So third Sunday would be the 19th. 19th of February.
Okay. And then secretary's report.
Nothing much to report. Yeah, it's been a little quiet in terms of like show clearances, but beginning of the year, people probably just had their shows in the fall and haven't geared up yet, so kind of normal.
Okay. And then on to the treasurer's report.
Excuse me, I'm fighting something here, so if I start hacking at you, it's nothing personal. I sent out about a half an hour ago, I guess, the financials for the end of the year. They haven't changed dramatically from the preliminary ones that I discussed at the last meeting. So basically, we ended up losing a little, let me get an exact number, about $9,300, $9,400 for the year, which is about what we had planned, although the detail of what actually happened was significantly different. So I don't really know that I have anything much more to say than that, unless anybody has any specific questions.
Okay, I don't hear any questions. All right, let's move on to our strategic initiative section. So this is the items that we came out of our planning session. So we're gonna have these on the agenda monthly, and I'd like you to each update on the initiatives for which you're responsible. Not expecting a whole lot of update, obviously, since the last couple of weeks, but we'll go ahead and go through them. Matt, have you kind of gotten your feet wet here as VP marketing, started thinking about things, or?
Yeah, no, definitely. I've kind of started looking through different things. I've been researching different, I would say, kind of choral groups within the Northeast that we could potentially target, where we would assist the chapter membership or marketing to try and draw members. So it's kind of something I'm currently looking at. Also, my plan is to connect with all the chapter marketing officers or members to provide support or any support that they may need in their marketing efforts. See kind of where their hangups are, what struggles they're having, even if it's just kind of coming to the show promotion type ideas to kind of start growing that. And then looking at kind of some untapped areas. I know Mary and I have kind of been talking about the LGBTQ plus communities and associated choruses that are pretty much throughout the entire Northeast that we might even be able to tap into. So just kind of something that I've started thinking on, but I haven't really acted yet.
Okay. Any comments for Matt?
I just have a question for Matt. Do you have any tentative idea when you might be reaching out to the chapters?
Yeah, so my plan was I'm supposed to be in Florida the first week of February. So my plan was to start doing that probably the second or third week of February, is to start reaching out and seeing who I can get in touch with to set up those meetings. And if you're happy to join, if you'd like to be a part of that.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a number of chapters that don't have a marketing person listed. So
Yeah, we'll see how many I can get through.
Okay. Amanda did a great job pulling together the first newsletter. Amanda, do you want to update anything on that? Have you had any luck in recruiting your replacement?
No, I directed them to, if anyone's interested, to email the marketing email. I don't know if Matt's gotten any takers. I know it just went out the other day, but I'm hoping someone takes it over. I can keep doing it for a few months though, so there's no really big rush there.
Okay. Matt, do you have access to the marketing email now?
No, I was just going to say that I don't have login information yet for that. So if someone has it and wants to send it, that'd be awesome.
It'd either be Steve or you can get Michael Klein. Should be able, at some point he's going to have to learn how to reset those.
Yeah. I'll reach out to Steve, see what I can get from him.
Okay. Ellen had another engagement tonight, so we'll hear from him on upcode revisions. Just for the division managers that weren't with us at the planning meeting, there were a number of things that we agreed to, and you should be able to see him in the notes that Glenn sent out for the January 3rd meeting. But off the top of my head, I don't have to go off the top of my head. I have the file open. We agreed to remove the course director development position as a board position, as a vice president, and that's going to report in to either membership or music and performance. We agreed to add the option for 2 community board members to be part of the NED board. We're going to revisit the gendered contest categories, and we're going to do work on fixing our financial approval. So more heavily pre-approval with budget items, and then any budgeted spending the VPs can sign off and go right to payment rather than have to get the DP involved. So those are the governance issues that we'll be looking to update the opcode and bring to the HOD in the next meeting. Actually, I listed them under there. There should be, those next 4 should be indented underneath operating code revisions. Sorry. Mike, have you started anything with the community board member search?
Yeah, I've sent out a couple emails last week, although for those that came on late, I'm in Florida for a week or so helping out my brother down here, and I'll be, over the next couple of months, I'll be coming back and forth because he has some issues down here, so I'll be going back and forth. But anyway, on the board member, community board members, I sent out a couple letters, not to individuals, but to people that might know individuals. And my plan is also to send something out to the presidents at some point to see if their chapters, maybe they have some knowledge. Obviously, those community board members can come from anywhere. They don't have to be in Worcester or Providence or Concord or anything. They can really be anywhere, since we're going to be dealing with Zoom. I'd like to ask how everybody feels on a community board member. Should they be attending board meetings like tonight, where we talk about a lot of nitty gritty, perhaps when it gets close to Harmony Explosion Camp on that, and or should there be special sessions that maybe we could have them attend, maybe quarterly rather than every month? This will be a non-paid position. Most of the caliber of people will be asking would, a lot of them would be used to having paid board member positions. So I'm, you know, let's just say, I'm just going to shoot a name out there. Let's say we're able to get Keith Lockhart to be on our board. Would we want him sitting through the daily drudgery of the stuff we discuss? That kind of thing. So in that, I'm looking for a little bit of guidance as to, you know, when we finally put together some names that I'll submit to you all, what we expect them to do, you know, monthly meeting, whatever.
My expectation is they get the agenda and they're welcome to attend if there is a topic that interests them, but that we would mostly try and use them in committee work outside of the regular board meetings. Scott, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just have a question, how that would work with if they're a voting board member, but they're like on a schedule, well, if they're on a scheduled only quarterly, that's kind of an odd way of having certain votes and certain times and not, you know, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
It's just
mean,
kind of an odd situation like that.
yeah, maybe we can write into the code of regulations in a way that they don't count against quorum if they're not attending, something like that. Diane?
I would think it might be beneficial to have them attend for a while, especially if they're not familiar with barbershop or Northeast District or how we operate, what we discussed, any of that. It might give them some background.
That makes sense.
Okay, like I said, I'll have obviously a little bit more information with some more time, but we'll keep at it.
Very good. Thank you. Katie, have you had any thought about discussion groups at conventions? I know you're planning on starting up the President's Council again, so we didn't put that on the board specifically on the list.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're going to start. I've been preoccupied with Leadership Academy for this week, but after this week should be able to get more into those discussions, and based off of the feedback that we get from Leadership Academy, maybe have some ideas of, you know, what kind of discussions or classes or something like that would be useful at convention.
Okay. Amanda, did you get any ideas for festival type performances and events, especially from your experience this weekend with the SAI Regional?
Yeah, I actually have been in contact with the region in Chicago that holds they call it, it's not a competition, it's a festival or something like that. I think I mentioned before that it was their highest attended event all year long, even more than their contest. So I was thinking of incorporating it in Harmony College if we can. I know we're down an auditorium this year, so maybe this year isn't the year to do it, because if we're inviting choruses, we'll need that space and we might have an uptick in attendance. And I mean, hopefully we'll have an uptick in attendance if we do this. So yeah, I'm just not sure how to handle it with that auditorium being down, but I am in the works, just like kind of picking their brains of what worked for them and what didn't. So hopefully we'll have more news on that front next month.
Great.
Amanda, sorry, I missed, which group was the festival with?
I forget what region it is. Mike might know because I know Mary was in Melody Ears, but it's the region out in Chicago.
Okay.
Region 3.
Thank you.
HI, is that?
SAI.
SAI.
Sweet Alliance, yeah.
All right, and then Katie, I'm guessing the communication form through to the board from the website will also wait till after Leadership Academy.
Yep, that's the main priority right now.
Makes sense. And the idea of kind of making our HOD meetings more active is something I want to address. I plan on attending the chapter president's council meetings once we get those back going. So that's the first group I want to address that with. Any other thoughts on strategic initiatives? All right, let's move into new business then. John, can you give us an update on, first a little background, because maybe not everybody knows what's going on here. And then an update on where we stand with our nonprofit status.
Yeah, I made contact with the IRS here, and the issue seems to date back to about 2017, 2016. I'm in the process of digging up files that I need and the paperwork that I need to fill out to get all that taken care of and resolved. So it's been a slow process, but it's beginning to inch forward. And I should have some better report for you by the end of this month as to exactly how long that's had to take to get resolved.
Okay, so just for a background for the folks that don't know, our nonprofit status was auto revoked by the IRS for failure to file the Form 990s. I think this, did we ever get the official verdict on that, John?
Yeah, that is the issue, but I'm not sure exactly why they don't think they were filed. That's what I'm trying to work through.
So we're under the impression that we filed them. IRS is not giving us credit for that, so we need to get that hashed through. Any questions on that?
I have just one question.
Mhm.
In New York, we have to file those also with the state, John. And I know we're incorporated in Massachusetts. When we had when we've been using this in the past, we've used the Massachusetts form for the, on the not-for-profit. Are we still going under Massachusetts law?
No, those two different issues, Bob. One is the nonprofit status with the IRS.
No, that I understand. And the other one's
Right.
the tax
What
exemption.
you're talking about is the sales and use
Right.
tax exemption, which is
Right.
state specific.
Right.
So those are two separate things, although the issue with the IRS could potentially affect the state.
Yeah, exactly. But we're still going under Massachusetts law, correct? I mean, is that where we're doing it? We're incorporated in Massachusetts, correct?
We're incorporated as an entity in Massachusetts.
Right, right.
We are a nonprofit organization through the IRS, which is not a state specific.
No, that I understand. Yeah, that I understand. But as far as the tax exemption, that's coming under Massachusetts,
Sales and use tax exemption is a state by
under
state.
Massachusetts.
The one we have right now is with Massachusetts. yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
And I assume we file some sort of annual report with Massachusetts as well.
That Glenn would be doing, and yes, that's part of remaining a valid corporation in the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure of. I know that just as I started, Chris did one with you, but I haven't. I guess I have not been doing that, so I need to look into that. I think that is going to be part of the solution.
Yeah, I don't know what the law is in Massachusetts, but I know in New York, we filed the 990s with the state also.
The 990 strictly with the IRS. There's
No,
usually
it is.
form
It
as
is.
well.
But we file a copy of it with the state.
Some states require that.
Yeah.
New Hampshire used to. I don't know if they still do anymore. So when I was doing the chapter, we either had to send a copy of the 990 to the state or fill out their own form. And it was a whole lot easier to fill out their own, to send a copy of the 990.
Right, right.
Do we have a consent calendar that kind of lays out all of the reporting requirements? And if not, we need to make one. But we're following that as a board.
Yeah, we probably should, Mike.
I believe DHS has some a calendar that we could potentially follow too.
Who does, Katie?
DHS, it's part of the treasurer training that I just developed. That's the only reason it's on my head.
Yeah, it's probably chapter specific, but I'm sure there's things that will be applicable. So I'll talk with you, Katie, and get a look at that, and I'll work with John and Glenn to make sure that we make one for NED that makes sense. All right, any other questions on our nonprofit issue? So I'm just making myself a note here. All right, let's talk about COVID protocols for our upcoming events. So we put a survey out. I'm going to share my screen with those results. We got really good participation. There we go. So we got 198 responses to that survey. Oh, you got a question, Steve?
Yeah, who did the survey go out to?
It went to the mail list and it got announced on Facebook.
The mail list of NED members?
Anyone who signed up to be on the NED mail list. So you have to go to the website and sign up. I don't know that. I don't know if I don't think, Matt, you've got this background yet either, but I don't know if we tie that into membership lists at all. I don't think we do.
I wonder if, I didn't even know there was such a thing, and I wonder if anybody in my chapter did. Anyway.
It'd be an interesting question. And I'd like to know that answer, Steve, because if we don't reach our membership with our group emails, that's a big issue.
I know Rusty sent me a note asking that question, and that was just before you were ready to send it out, Mike. So I told him that it was forthcoming, but that's the last that I heard.
Okay. Right, and I know Rusty was looking for it, our president, and I've gotten nothing from anybody in the chapter that said they got one. So.
All right, well, we'll definitely need to look into that, but here's the responses that we did get. So out of the almost 200 that responded, 64% that did attend NED events in 2022. So we asked that group, if you did attend the NED events, how much did the COVID precautions factor into your decision? Where 1 was they didn't factor in at all, and 5 was they only went because that we had the COVID precautions. So you can see 16%, 21 people said they would not have attended if we hadn't had those. Another 19% were kind of leaning that way. Then for the people that did not attend, we asked them how much the proof of vaccination requirement factored in their decision not to attend. Again, 1 being where it didn't impact their decision not to attend, and 5 being they did not attend because of the proof of vaccination. So as we kind of suspected, it is a smaller group that are staying away than would be if we didn't have some kind of COVID protocols. Even if you add the 5s and 4s together, you've got 13 versus 45. So then we asked, what do they think that we should be doing going forward? A little over half the people think that we should continue to have the proof of vaccination. Half the people thought we should ask screening questions. Are you feeling ill? Have you been exposed, etc. 25% didn't think that we should have any of those things, which doesn't necessarily line up with the other questions. And there were lots of different responses. If you want, I can download these and email them out to everybody. But I want to open the floor and discuss what people's thoughts are on this in terms of what we should be doing come the spring conventions.
do we want to break the problem into two, like one about vaccination, and then there's various questions about that, and then one about masks? Is like one of them easier, for instance? Does the mask data in there? I saw there was some, yeah. Like this
Yeah,
section.
wasn't that many people that thought we should do mandatory mask use. And we do have Carol Lee on the line, who's kind of our resident medical professional. So Carol Lee, feel free to weigh in if you want to say something.
Yeah, thank you. I really do continue to work through the Department of Health, and I think the biggest issues are to go through the screening questions and to mask if there's any concern for anybody, have it available, hand washing. And then the other concern was keeping track of individuals that might have been exposed and getting immediate contact if they have been exposed, so that we can put them into a tracking system and send notices out, not by name, but by issue. If they, let's say they attended a convention or a district meeting, then we could write and say there were individuals who were COVID positive when they got home, and we can do the follow-up for that. So when I start looking at the data, it's very similar to what I did 2 states. I did Minnesota, which is my home state, and I did Massachusetts, and it's very similar data that people are starting to be more concerned about asking the screening questions and doing home testing prior to events than they are about adding more immunization records. But most are prepared to provide an immunization card or proof of vaccination.
Does the current CDC recommendation include a booster?
They still haven't made that part of
They
the,
have not made that final decision. They're recommending it, but it's not a mandatory. But they're starting to research that for seniors and children.
right now their definition of fully vaccinated is still just the original.
Yes, the routine ones that we received, not the more advanced boosters.
One thing that's kind of interesting reading is the Extreme Quartetting had put together a advisory committee. Let's see if I can zoom in on this for you. That they provide this information to all of the brigades to make their decisions about how they're going to handle COVID precautions at brigade events. I think this particular paragraph is important. We get a lot of the comments that you see in the survey that we should just be following whatever the local guidelines are. But the reality is that what we do is way more risky than going to watch a show or having a retirement party or whatever. We're standing right in front of each other singing in everybody's face. It's not the same.
It's the projection by the force of breathing and singing and projecting it further and involving more of a span, a wider span as you sing. Your span is different than if you talk.
So, the brigades also don't take a really specific stand on what the requirements should be. They list a whole bunch of potential measures. I know that for the mixed brigade, they're requiring vaccination, and I think they're doing the questions, but I don't believe they're doing
the screening. Yeah. Paper screening has become more popular in the medical world for all kinds of things, and it has a lot to do with exposure, known exposures, and having people continue to isolate the first 3 to 5, 7 days after a known exposure, and then up to 14 days masking in public areas.
I
And
mean,
I guess I'm speaking asymptomatic too, for those individuals. If I didn't say that out loud, they would be asymptomatic. Anybody with symptoms of anything is really encouraged to stay home and isolate, test. And one of the issues with COVID right now is the longevity of it and the coughing. And again, the coughing is like singing, it's projectile. Not sure that's helpful, but it's informative.
Always at the door coming in at the registration desk, we have those large signs we made up that have the various symptoms,
Yes,
and then say that, you know, you're not to enter if you exhibit any of these symptoms. We also kept masks at the desk also. I don't know, it seemed to work for us when we had the vaccinations.
yeah,
And we had the masks that, except for singing, while you were actually singing, people were, you know, we had people wear masks. We seem to have gotten through our conventions in the past with those.
that's one thing
And
I think
you-
we got to think about is we didn't really follow up with people to find out how many
Right.
people got sick after the convention.
right. There was not a lot of tracing, post tracing.
Well, actually, from the chapters, we got the one where we got a lot of COVID was in Queensbury, where we sort of slacked off on a lot of the regulations. And I don't know if it was because of the contest or because of the party afterward, where everyone was crammed in together. But that was an interesting thing, because I know a lot of people came down with COVID after Queensbury. After the Cape, we didn't have that much of a problem, and after Worcester, we got through that quite well. It was Queensbury when it hit us, and that was what we were trying to figure out, whether it was at the contest itself or at the afterglow.
So my takeaway from the results of the survey, and my understanding of the current situation is that I think we need to have something in place. I'm definitely open to discussion about what that something is. But certainly we'll have, I feel like it'll have a more negative impact on attendance if we decided that we were going to have no COVID precautions at all. So then the question comes down to, if everyone agrees, what precautions do we want to put in place? Is there any discussion on the idea that whether or not we should have precautions? And then if we all agree that that's the case, then we can get into the discussion about what those should be.
Well, I'll make a statement and then you can react to it. As I would go for a full screening that would include travel within and outside the United States. And I know that we have Canada. And just symptomatic screening for people and remembering that there's flu and other things that are going around too, but you don't know if that turns into COVID. So if someone is not feeling well, running a temp, having a cough, I would screen them out. That would be a recommendation from my chair. I have no voting power.
A question would be like, I mean, how much enforcement can we have? Can we just basically say just say you're not allowed, but like in the end, like, do we really have, like, what can we really do?
Yeah. Well, you bring up a good point, and we're all adults.
Yeah. One other part of it is I wonder if as part of the screening, it sounds like, would people be interested in trying to add contact tracing kind of, capabilities? So like we just grab an email address and then we'll send it out if we find any cases, or is that something we don't want to take responsibility for?
Yeah, I'd be real careful with that because that gets into the Privacy Act.
Scott, go ahead. I can't see
Yeah.
your, when I'm
Oh.
sharing screen, so.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, as far as the contact tracing goes, I mean, you get an email afterwards that says, yeah, somebody there tested positive. That's kind of useless information. I mean, it's not, I mean, it's not like you can say, well, you have no idea whether you had contact with that particular person or not. You don't know who it is. So it's like, it's useless information, really.
Yeah, I think sending a survey out after the convention and asking people if they got COVID.
That's a
the next number of
different
days,
story.
so
Yeah, that
might
could,
be valuable.
yeah.
Yeah, that would get a lot of the same information and maybe not be has nearly as much privacy problems. Yeah.
Maybe not as invasive, if you will, and privacy.
Is there anyone that wants to discuss the idea that we should have some sort of COVID protocols?
I would think we definitely should. I mean, looking at the survey, I think the fact of proof of vaccination, we should ask for proof of vaccination. And I would think if this is still flaring again in April, we would, you would have masks unless you're singing. I mean, I'd hate to go through that again, but I don't know if, that's where we're going to be heading in April. It's a problem now, what it's going to be like in the spring, and probably not much different than now. Massachusetts has, it's all voluntary at this point, from what I understand, which is our first stop on the spring tour.
And again, I don't put a lot of weight into what the local requirements are because they're not geared
Exactly.
for singing events. So.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea of saying that, if you have to wear a mask around or in the audience, and we have to have, we have the signs at the door for, for any kind of symptoms. It would be hard to police that. I mean, it would be, the registrations and the events people would have to be the health screeners, which I don't think any of us are really trained for that.
Yeah.
But, we certainly do have signs up, and we have masks if people need them, and we can get big things of hand cleaner. We can do as much as we possibly can. The only thing I think would be left would be if we're going to do anything with masks. But it looks like it's not going to be a problem with the vaccination.
I think sticking with the vaccination required does a few things for us. People who are vaccinated are less likely to get sick, right? So if the entire audience, the entire list of participants is all vaccinated, we have less opportunities for sick people to be in the crowd. And then people who are vaccinated who do get sick don't get as sick, generally speaking. So we're doing a lot to protect our members that participate by having that. There are certainly some that, for whatever reason, refuse to get a vaccine. We're leaving them out, and that's unfortunate. But I feel like we need to protect the health of our members, especially when you look at, especially with the new variants, we're seeing the same thing, that the people who are most vulnerable are the people who are right in our demographic, right? People over 65. That's a very large percentage of the folks that come to our events.
Would the board consider using that approach and just adding a small caveat to that, there would be an option that those not choosing not to vaccinate, if they would wear a mask? Would that be a compromise so that there's an alternative for those making an alternate choice?
We get back into the how do you enforce it question, I guess.
Good point. It's worth the discussion. I only bring it up just for discussion, so we have that as an opportunity.
If someone doesn't want to be vaccinated, would we ask for a test within a certain, within 48 hours or whatever? If somebody absolutely will not be vaccinated, would we say, okay, could you bring us a negative test? Take it within 48 hours. And I don't know how to get around that.
Something like that would be helpful because we're trying to work out our staffing for HX camp and have a longtime staffer who would like to get back involved, and we'd like to have him back involved, but he's not vaccinated. And if there was an option, that would be helpful.
So that would be a recent test and a mask.
Yep.
Yeah.
John, how
Scott,
would
do you
that,
think that person would be approachable to give us an opinion?
Certainly, yeah. Yeah. Such as, and what do you have in mind on that?
Yeah.
What do you have
Like,
in mind on that?
Would he be okay with the test? I think is.
Would
what I'm-
he
yeah.
be okay with testing and
Testing,
masking?
sure. Yeah. Yep.
I still want to, I guess, just bring up a question around or what get a read of the room for, we were at a play yesterday and the whole play had to be masked. So I wonder still if like for the events, when there's a lot of people in one room, like obviously we can't control it when people leave that room. I'm not trying to, but when people are in that room, like asking for masks makes it one step up from like just saying, hey, we think you should, like, if you just say we think we're gonna wear masks, no one's gonna wear masks. It's like, but if we require it in the event room, then that's the next level up. And then so where do people feel on that? Like, I know people are probably pretty anti-mask, but just kind of,
I mean, in the hall when the contest is going on?
that's what I mean, yeah.
So to me, that's a lower risk than the everyone quartetting in the hallways after, right?
It kind of is, but it gives permission for people to be wearing the masks, I guess, is kind of what it does. Whereas if there's going to be a lot of peer pressure to not wear a mask, you see, there's kind of a negative peer pressure thing that I guess I'm considering. And there, it's really true. I guess I do kind of like think about the extreme quartetting line, which is like what we do is I mean, that's how I got it, right? I was at international and singing in Minoja's room, and that's where I got it, but so I don't know. I just wonder if there's more we should do. That's all around masks. I'm pretty flexible. I mean, and I tend to think I'm fairly, and I don't tend to wear a mask anywhere. So, but I would if it was the rule. Yes.
All right, so you have a few ideas on the floor, right? One is keep the vaccine requirement.
Mm-hmm. And keep it at the CDC level. So if CDC changes, we change.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a suggestion that we would offer people who are unvaccinated the opportunity to attend under certain conditions.
You could, I don't know about your part of the country, but here in the Maritimes, there's a test available that you can do in 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't want to take a vaccination, they could have a test right there and you'd know right away whether they had it or they didn't have it.
Yeah. No, we have the same. And in the States, you can get 4 free a month. For just show up at CVS and they'll give you 4.
I think they're all 15-minute tests, but I'm still not
okay,
too long.
Yeah, they're all 15 in the States.
I mean, we could keep desks, we could keep tests when people come in at the registration tables. The problem is that where would we get, what would you need, 100 sets or 50 sets of,
There's nothing
where
to
would we begin to get this in bulk? I'm not,
Idea
I know you can get them at your local CVS, you get a local Rite Aid for nothing, but I don't think I could walk in there and walk out with 50 tests.
Yeah.
Ready to send.
Mary's volunteering to do some research on if we could get some free tests somewhere.
I think go to the drug companies and see with the event and your status as a nonprofit.
Also, some schools have way excess tests, they get more than they need.
And just a tip is that sometimes on the outside of the box, they have a shelf life that is outdates, but the inside actual testing product is not outdated. And if they can't keep them on the shelf anymore because of the shelf life, they want to get rid of them.
I'll get on it as soon as I get downstairs.
Chop, chop, Mary.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Maybe since Binax is a local company in Maine, maybe they would donate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better.
I
Since they're
love free.
in
I
New
like
England.
free. IMAX is local. Got it.
All right, so do we have consensus around this? We keep the vaccine requirement for people that don't meet the vaccine requirement. They'd have to show a negative test and mask. Is that what we're?
You get yourself into how many tests? The first two, does that work? Or do you have to get the latest and greatest?
You didn't follow. I don't follow you there, Diane.
Well, there's more than how many tests would a person have to prove they've gotten? Would they have to prove they got the very latest test? Or
Very
the
latest
first?
test? I don't
There's
understand what
only,
that
yeah,
means.
there's only one test, I think, right now for Binax and stuff. They're all the same.
You're correct. But if that person hasn't gotten it and they still have proof originally when we required it.
I think you're talking about vaccination, not testing, right?
Yes, right, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Well, we're saying we're going to keep the CDC definition, which is just right now. The CDC definition is they got the original series, whether that was one shot of J&J or 2 shots of Moderna
Yeah.
and Pfizer. I think it would be too complicated to try and go beyond that.
I agree.
But for the unvaccinated attendees, do we want them to do a test within 24 hours of arrival? Do we want them to do a test every day of the event? What do we think about that?
I think doing it every. So I have two comments about like doing it every day, maybe, but we'd have to provide them. So that's why I'd kind of stray away from that one. And having them wear masks in addition to taking the test might be a little bit of like shaming essentially. So I don't know if we want that either personally, but like if we're gonna do masks, I think everybody should wear a mask. If we're not gonna do masks, then then we don't do masks. Like then masks are just optional. It's like there's kind of not much middle ground, I think, to me.
So unvaccinated can attend if they have a test within 24 hours.
I like that. I like 24 hours too, rather than 48.
And what type of test? Is that a home test or what is it?
Can be any test that they.
Any test? Okay.
Yeah.
So they don't need to get it at a doctor and have it documented. They just do a home test.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
John,
they're
this was-
How do you know the
asymptomatic.
home test is done within 24 hours? There's
They have
no
to take a
time
picture
on
of it on their phone. It gets time stamped.
Okay.
But they could take the test, show the negative results on their phone 4 days later.
The phone picture will be time stamped for when the picture was taken. So
Take the test, negative last week, then take the picture a week later and show you the picture.
no, the test fades after about 45 minutes. There's nothing there. The stripe fades on the test.
Also, I mean, I think, if someone really wants to defeat our system,
That's right.
there's a million ways.
The additional language might also include, it's up to you, but it would be asymptomatic and a negative test.
Okay.
John, how well do you think we did at verifying vaccine status at our events?
Well, as far as, basically what we did is anybody who had previously confirmed vaccination status at any other NED event was, we separated those registrations and assumed they were still valid. Anybody who wasn't, we requested verification when they picked up their badge. For the most part, people were very cooperative. We didn't have any real issues. Occasionally had one who forgot one. In most cases, we were able to go to a state database or something to verify. So I would say, I would not say 100%, but 99.9% verification did occur.
Do you think it would be a manageable burden to ask to check for COVID tests for unvaccinated participants?
So long as we have a procedure, I'm afraid I missed a lot of this discussion, but just as I came back on, I heard the discussion of how to validate the test. So as long as we have a clear cut procedure for doing so, and it's only limited to those who are unvaccinated, and we can track that, shouldn't be an issue.
Okay. So here's what we seem to be landed on. We're going to keep the vaccine requirement. If you show that you're vaccinated, there's no other requirement. If you can't show that you're vaccinated, you need to show us a negative test. Do we want to do some kind of statement that they're asymptomatic, or just ask them the question when they're registering?
I guess my feeling is that we need to be somewhat of on an honor system here and assume that people aren't going to come and try and spread something if they don't. So, maybe if we just have a form that they can sign saying that they're not symptomatic, that would be sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything about like kind of in general, people just, I know in general, we wanted to like, I think Carol was, I think raising a good point that screening questions to make everybody think before they attend. I don't know how we would do that, but it seemed like a good idea for everyone, like not just.
The questions aren't hard, but it does, to your point, it does make people stop and think, well, wait a minute. I have not been feeling good. I might have the flu. I've had a headache and a cold. Maybe I should think about not going to this event because I'm not feeling well. That's one of the advantages, because there's more than just COVID in the world right now, and flu has taken a little life of its own because I believe we've been hiding behind masks and in our own homes, and all of a sudden we're out in public.
So do we do that with an online survey, or do we ask people to fill out a form when they pick up their badge? What do we think is the best way to do that?
There's a 3-item right now, a 3-item question. You could just hand them a piece of paper. You can try and do it online. Tricky at best. If they haven't filled it out, then they maybe need to be screened when they get in. Someone has to do that.
I know like last time there was, I mean, so yeah, I think that would be, that's so, that'd be great. If we want something simpler than maybe, but not quite as effective, it's like, I think last time when I was in Eastern, there was like a big sign that basically said, like a statement that said, hey, if you're sick, like don't come. Like Bob, did you put up that sign or something? There was a sign of registration.
We had a couple of them printed up, and
yeah,
they were, they gave everyone the symptoms. I mean, you can almost take a picture of our sign and send it out to everyone before they come. I mean, it's not, they were poster sized signs. I think
Now,
it
as
was
you get
3
in
feet
line
tall
to
or
get your
whatever.
badge, just saying like, hey, like read
Right.
this. Like singing's dangerous. If you're sick, like be
Right.
nice to your friends and don't get them sick.
It was right there at the registration desk as people walked in.
Yeah, one comment on that is if they're reading that sign after they've already gotten there, it's kind of too late.
Mhm.
I know.
Well, if they're just picking up their badge, at least they haven't sung in a quartet yet, probably, or at least only one or two.
Jim?
Yeah, we had a whole bunch of, most people that attended the conventions last year provided proof of vaccination. Are we going to require them to prove it again, or by the fact that we have the attendance record, they automatically pass?
Yeah, everyone has already submitted it. We have a record of it, so they don't have to resubmit it.
Yeah, that assumes that the requirement doesn't change.
Right.
Because if all of a sudden we require a booster, then all of that goes out the window and we need to start from scratch.
Right.
Several of us had boosters, but right, what kind of proof is going to be required if it goes beyond?
Well, what we said is we're going to stick with the CDC definition of fully
Right.
vaccinated, which currently is just the original series, and that's what we already have proof of. So anyone who's attended in the last 2 years has already provided that. They're in the clear. John, did you add to the database in some fashion for people that showed it at the door as opposed to did it online?
No, but I have lists of all the people who've attended the events that I refer to in addition to your database.
Okay. So I think we're okay. I mean, if CDC does at some point add a requirement to have a booster in order to be considered fully vaccinated, then yeah, we'd have to start our online collection again and do that over. Right, so I'm going to read this back one more time. So we're going to keep the vaccine requirement. If you're vaccinated and have already shown us you don't have any other responsibility other than to read the symptom list when you check in for your badge and be a good person. If you cannot show proof of vaccination, then we're going to ask for proof of a negative test within 24 hours and a statement that they're asymptomatic. And maybe we should we consider some sort of waiver? I know there's some waiver because people who aren't vaccinated who expose themselves could get sick, could die as a result of attending our event. Well, anybody could, but more likely to happen with an unvaccinated person. Do we add a waiver on that? I don't know how effective or it would be legally anyway. The thing that we're going to ask them to sign that says that they're not symptomatic and they absolve us if they get sick.
Can't hurt to put that language on. I mean, yeah, I agree. Probably not very enforceable, but I think the people who are likely to be in that situation, I mean, it's generalizing, but probably are fine with that statement that yes, I take responsibility for myself. That's usually my.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we've got vaccine requirement or
24 hours.
present a negative test and sign something that says you're asymptomatic and you waive the NED of responsibility for attending. Any further discussion, or is that ready for someone to make a
Okay,
motion?
can I just mention one more thing about, because now you're kind of getting the legal state, which is, so does that mean people who are vaccinated, like we are responsible for them if they die at the event?
Yeah, it does kind of leave a doubt there.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
So, yeah, so maybe just leave it out. That's fine.
Right, so we're going to vaccinated per the CDC definition. If not vaccinated, asymptomatic and proof of a negative test.
This meeting is being recorded.
Got 2 Bobs.
Okay.
Okay. Whew.
Do we need a motion and a vote on that, or?
Small board rules are no. If they're unless we're going to make a change in opcode, are we going to make that change in the opcode?
I don't believe this is in the opcode, so.
Yeah, so I think we're,
So we have consensus on this. Anybody, any further discussion? Bob, you're gonna have to mute something.
yeah.
Dick, did you raise your hand?
No, I was just waving it off. There's no need to motion. I think we can do unanimous consent.
Okay. Good discussion, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will make sure that we get that published. I'll work with Matt and the marketing team to get the word out on that.
I expect I'll have a report next month after we attend the DPC meeting in Florida. So, and that plus some other subjects I would really like to start getting my hands around in terms of the financial models and the fundraising I've talked about historically.
Okay. You're talking about your EVP report here, Dick? Is that what you've moved on?
Yeah, I'm going to take a buy on this one.
Okay. Well, did you want to bring up the archiving?
Oh yeah. We got to reach out from somebody at VHS suggesting that they had the resources to digitize any and all forms of media. However, if it's video, they're talking like $70 an hour.
More like 150, I think, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. The labor on top of the actual fee associated with it. So I think we can probably get some volunteer resources here in the
go to
district.
legacy box if we want, something commercial service.
Yeah. So I don't think that's feasible. Unless anybody thinks we have all kinds of money laying around.
It's definitely not something we have in the budget, but if we wanted to try and take up a collection to, I mean, how much archival material do we have in the district that we would want to?
That's the other question is there was a reach done a couple of years ago. I think Mike might know that when I reached about the history committee and stuff like that, I kind of fell flat with the response.
Mike, I know you got a lot of stuff in your basement that's primarily printed material. Do you have a collection of audio and?
Yeah, I have nothing audio or video. All we have is printed material, photographs, trophies, baby pictures of Bob Bradley. That's it.
I do know the widow of Pat Ullman, who started all the videoing of the district conventions, still has a lot of his material, and I've been trying to connect with her to see about getting that for the district. I've not been successful yet, but so I'm not sure what's there exactly, nor what format it's in, but as soon as I do, I'll let you know.
What state is it in, John?
What's that?
What state is that in? Not condition, but geography.
New Hampshire.
Okay. Thank you, Dick. Mike, do you have anything to report? Nope. Okay.
I got nothing.
Katie, you want to give a quick update on Leadership Academy?
Yes, please. So everything is set. We've got amazing faculty lined up. We've got Don Santora, we've got Christian Hunter, we've got Joe Cerruti and Sandy Wright, and just amazing people. And so the biggest ask that I have is that we get the word out. We can share the NED homepage that's updated with all the information, or if there's anything specific you're looking for, like course descriptions, I'm happy to send that along. The timing is Friday from 5:30 to 9, Saturday from 10 to 5, and Sunday from 9 to 4. So it's quite a long event, but you can hop in and out. I know you all know about the Leadership Academy, but it's really going to be a great event. And so if we can really, really, really push the word out this week, we only have maybe 20 or so people registered so far. And we'd really, really like to get our numbers up so that the faculty are able to be engaging and have a good audience. So any questions about, yep.
Yeah, just a word. I had my chapter board meeting the other night. And when I reported on behalf of the district what's new and try to promote things, all of my chapter board said they had not heard any or seen any direct email at that point that this was happening.
Okay.
Has it been a direct email to officers? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
so
wouldn't
there's,
get it, but
yeah, it's been on Facebook and it's been through some of the
Well, it's gone through the regular email distribution list, right? We
and it's
didn't
been through the-
specifically make one for chapter officers.
Yeah, so I just pulled the report from January. I'll go through and just email everybody on it tomorrow from the VP of District Support email address. And so we'll make that push for this week for sure. But that's good to know because I thought that it had gone out to at least
when did that email go out, Mike?
2 weeks ago.
Because as of Monday, they said none of them, and it was right down the line unanimous, which is usually somebody say, "Oh yeah, I think I saw something," but
Mm.
I'll find
Yeah.
it. Stephen, you got
Yeah.
a question?
Yep.
Is it up on the NED website?
Yes.
It is. It's on the homepage.
yeah,
Oh,
that is there.
okay, so I'll tell folks they can go look at it there, because the last time I looked, I didn't see much.
Yep, it's taken over the homepage and then there's a register link right on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I referred them to the homepage, which was certainly up and plenty of information available if they, they have to go and see it.
The last email that went out was Monday at 4:09 p.m. to the district email list.
That's okay. I'll reach out. That's good to know, Mike. I'll reach out to everybody that I have on the member list that I just pulled to at least the officers.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then division managers, if you can help spread that word, reach out to Katie if you're not sure where to get the info, or if you need links to the registration stuff.
Well, I never got the information, so I'm not on whatever list it's supposed to be. So
I'll double check with Sebi just to see what list was used, so that Mike, maybe we can connect offline to figure out what distribution lists are used for what. Just so that we can make sure, because this sounds like the second thing tonight that we're not sure what emails it goes out to.
Yeah, I think Steve had a fairly complex system that I'm not sure that we've totally gotten our arms around.
Maybe we can simplify it, but in the meantime, I will send it out to everyone, and I'll send the email that I sent to the marketing team that has all of the information for Leadership Academy to the whole board, so that you all can distribute that information as you would like as well.
Yeah, please do encourage all the chapters to go to the NED website and sign up for the email list. If nothing else, that'll solve that first problem. They'll definitely get on the email distributions that way. I'd be surprised if it's automatically tied to any kind of membership role. So,
and Mike, where you say sign up for the email list, where do I find that on the website?
I'll tell you in 1 second. Let's all look for it together. Hold on, I'll pull up the website. So right on the homepage, and you got the Leadership Academy registration stuff and the schedule. Let's see, contact page. Oh, we don't make it as easy as the front page, apparently. Oh yeah, we do. Click on this thing, probably. Nope, that's mail to info. Katie, you ever seen where you sign up?
Nope.
Another note, Matt, for why we need to redo our website. This takes you to BHS, I think.
Yeah, and I looked at the contacts page and that looks like it would be a lot of the kind of things, but it doesn't actually have it.
Yeah.
So if you go to the homepage of the district and you click register today,
Yeah, that's for the OLA registration, but to get yourself added to the email list, I'm not finding it.
oh, I thought we were talking about registering. Yeah, I don't actually know how that.
Excellent question, Steve.
Definitely add
We'll
it.
have to figure that out. Matt, if you can add that to your list of things to discuss with our
Yeah.
webmaster.
No, maybe it's under the members tab.
That just takes you to the PHS
Really
member center.
Oh,
Really looks like it should be on that contacts page, but it's not there.
Let's look again. I didn't see it. Contact us.
It'd really be in the footer out of every page, so that if anyone stumbles upon a page, they can sign up.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. No, it is on the contacts page. Want all
Yeah.
the news, join our email campaign list here. There it is. Yeah, you got it.
So we need to make that more easier to find and in more than just one place. But let's see what it does when you click on it. Yeah.
I can start adding it to the newsletter, although people who are getting the newsletter are already on the list.
Yeah. Yeah. Good thought, but yeah.
Maybe we could post the newsletter on Facebook and say, are you on our list? That's one way.
Not a bad idea.
Because if you are a BHS NED member and sign up here, you'll receive 2 of each message. So maybe Steve was updating the list with membership. I don't know. Matt, would you check with Michael and maybe reach out to Steve and make sure we understand this?
Know that now.
maybe you could figure something out and then communicate it through the chapter presidents so they can let their chapters know.
Okay. Anything else, Katie?
There is a URL that will take you to the MailChimp form, not part of the NE district website. So.
Yeah, I think that's the one we were just showing, right?
Right. Well, is that the one with the MailChimp at the bottom? Oh, you're sharing it. Okay, hold on.
I was sharing it. Yeah, it's the MailChimp form. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you click on that link in the contact us page, it will take you direct. But there's a note there that seems to indicate that we are adding membership emails there on there, but I don't.
Yeah, it looks like Steve sent it to 2 lists. Yeah.
So maybe our current email person doesn't understand the system too. So. All right. Anything else for you, Katie?
Nope, I'll work on getting everything out tomorrow. If you have any questions, just please feel free to reach out and feel free to attend yourselves.
Absolutely. All right. Ellen is not here. Bob, do you have anything you need to report on?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. Amanda?
Yes. I just want to give an update on HC&E. As for headliner quartet, I reached out to the AIC to take advantage of their grants to hopefully get that covered. I reached out to the AIC chair for outreach, who is Dan Wessler. He said that a grant for this year is likely out of the question because they have only budgeted for a certain number of events and they're at their maximum. He said 2024 will be a definite, so I'm going to submit the proposal for next year now so that we have that secured. They just want to know about the event. I know we've done it in the past, but it's been since before COVID since we brought an AIC quartet. So I'm just kind of starting from scratch with that. I thought to save money, obviously we ended last year's event in the red and we need to save money this year. I was thinking of bringing in Sweet and Sour. They're an internationally ranked quartet. They're great. They have a great set and they're obviously very smart. So I think that they would hold some great classes and be a good kind of headliner quartet for the weekend. Because I know in the past we like to bring in a big name, but that comes with a cost. And when we did that last summer, Pratt Street was great, but they didn't really bring in anyone who wouldn't have already been there. So I'm thinking of extending the invite there to Sweet and Sour. By that time, 2 of them are going to be living in Washington, D.C., so we'll have to pay some travel expenses, but DC is not far, and it would only be half of the quartet. The other half are still going to be in New Hampshire. So that's good news on that front, hopefully saving us money. And I've reached out to Daily Special about running the quartet track again. I thought they did a great job last year. All the quartets who did it last year gave rave reviews. I have all the feedback forms, and they were all so happy with how that worked out and the coaching that they got all weekend. We're thinking of changing it to a quartet retreat marketing wise, just to, I just feel like quartet retreat markets better than quartet track. Because we heard from quartets that it really was like a retreat, because you're getting one-on-one time with so many coaches in your suite. And they really weren't with the rest of the world in HCNE, they were with themselves. And I just think marketing it that way would get us more quartets to sign up. And that's where the bulk of the money will come in. We're going to raise prices for the quartet track because we did not charge enough last year, but we were still getting started with it, obviously kind of revamping it. So we're going to increase the prices this year and hopefully get some more quartets. So hopefully I'll hear back from Daily Special about running that again. And yeah, we're just going to meet with our planning team. We're going to involve Region 1 this year. I mentioned that a few meetings ago, but the Region 1 management team approached me a few months ago saying that they want to be more involved in NED events. And I thought HCNE would be a great way for them to get involved because they have a lot of great instructors and a lot of smart people in Region 1 who can come to HCNE and teach, and Region 1 would help us cover the costs with money. So I just have to figure out how much they can contribute money wise, how many of their instructors we can use. But I think it'll be a great partnership, and I'm going to reach out to Harmony Inc. as well, although we already involve a lot of Harmony Inc. folks when it comes to instructors. So yeah, just more of a collaborative effort this year than in previous years. And I'll toss it to Carolee because I know that Carolee was in Region 1 this past weekend. We just had our winter regional. So we spoke with a lot of those ladies who were really excited about partnering with us. If Carolee's here.
Yeah, I am here. And yes, it's all true. And they were very excited. And in fact, the obstacle they ran into in years past was their Regional Quartet Association weekend was the same as the camp weekend. And they have eliminated that and recreated their quartet meeting to another time. So they're very vested in being a part of the camp.
What's the scope of the partnership there? Is it a marketing thing, or are they going to be sharing costs and sharing profit?
I talked a little bit of dollars. I don't have an amount, and I actually referred them back to that Amanda and I would be in touch later.
Yeah, we don't know what they are expecting. So we were just going to hear them out. I think that they would contribute some money and bring us some, even if they don't contribute money, even just helping us with marketing is great, because then we'll get some Skyline members to come join us, and that brings in money for us. So we'll just see what they're expecting and what they're also not in a great financial situation. So I don't know where they're at. I know that they lost a lot of money with this last winter regional because not enough people booked rooms, and that's just happening throughout all the organizations. So I don't know what they'll be able to contribute, or if it's just a marketing thing. I'll keep you all in the loop once we chat with them. We haven't had a conversation one-on-one yet. Just
sorry, Amanda, if I can make a comment on that. The big issue with HCNE is really attendance. And if we get nothing more than additional attendees out of this relationship, I think it'll go a long way to help cover our costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we'll get some just automatically with the RQA not being a thing. And so if we bring in some Region 1 instructors and their members know about it, I think a lot of people in Skylines don't even know about this weekend. So I think it's good news either way, I think.
Great. All right. Thank you very much. And Scott, did you have anything you want to report on?
Just that the NED website HX page right now still has old 22-23 2022 information, including saying 2022 canceled all over the place. It's not helping us. If we're we have to have that fixed before we can do any publicity.
Yeah.
Even if
Andrea
if-
reached out to me about that last week,
Yeah.
and I connected her with Michael Klein. So again, Matt, maybe you can follow up.
Okay.
on
I mean, even if at very least we take Sebi's flyer and put that up there so that at least it shows new stuff and not old stuff and cancel stuff. And that's about it. That's the main thing. We already talked about the staff vaccination thing. So
Great. All right. How about the division managers? Marshall, you got anything?
Thanks for the very interesting meeting tonight, because we're, Portland is in the balance beam, so to speak, on the COVID thing. Some want to ease up on it and some don't. I'm one of those. But I look forward to getting that printed copy. Bangor and Waterville are doing well. Waterville has a school teacher, head of the music department, in fact, in the Waterville system. And we're making progress with Waterville. Bangor is alive and well. And Brunswick is also. And I received from Brunswick chapter a copy of their online ad for singing Valentine's. And so they're in good status too also. They're behind a little bit in some of the reports and so forth, but I'm working with them on that. Portland, this is our 75th year. So we're playing that up big in advertising and so forth. And we have a great outreach crew. And it happens to be Christopher Cutler Wood. And he and the president have met with the Yarmouth music boosters and says, we're here, how can we help? So moving forward.
Okay. Is there a
So-
75th anniversary show coming up, Marshall, or for Portland?
Yes, we will. It hasn't been established, but it's in the works, and we'll certainly get permission for that. And so
Bob's got a question.
Yeah, I have one question, Marshall. I think today is your birthday, isn't it?
not today, but it's coming up.
All right. Well, happy birthday.
Soon though, isn't it, Marshall?
I'm sorry?
It's soon though.
He can't remember.
This is the 25th. Today's the 22nd. So,
Close enough. Close enough. Happy birthday anyway, Marshall.
thank you. So I think that's about it.
Mike's guessing you're 50, Marshall. Is he close?
Sorry. What'd you say?
Mike Mano's guessing that you're 50.
50, 92. 92, still going for more.
92. Good on you.
I'm ahead of Mike.
Did I hear that there's a quartet registering for spring competition that has a 102-year-old member?
Yeah, we talked about that at the
I don't think so.
last board meeting.
Oh, okay.
102?
Yes, sir.
From Connecticut, is that?
I think so, yeah.
Central Connecticut, Ray Williams.
Great.
I think
It's
that's
too young, right?
Yeah.
Anything else, Marshall?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Doug, how about you?
Okay. We're getting by in the Maritimes. We've had COVID obviously has cut into us big time. We lost 4 chapters early on, and they're working their way back now. We have our division contest lined up for May the 13th. And 3 of those 4 chapters are going to be back in that contest. So I'm really
Awesome.
pleased about that. And when we were approached about putting it on the division contest, we didn't have anybody that wanted to sponsor it. So the Pappies organization took it over, and it's going to be in Truro. Now, we don't have a chapter in Truro anymore, but I'm still living here. And and it's gonna be sponsored really by the Pappies organization, whatever money we need, and hopefully we'll cover the cost of it in the contest. So it's going on okay. And I think we have everything pretty well lined up for it.
Hey Doug, who's organizing that? Is that you, somebody else, or?
Well, Andre Wellen is the competition manager, and he reports to me, and we have some pretty good people doing it, and I'm not too concerned about that part.
Well, the reason I ask is I want to find out who I talk to about volunteering to be an MC, because I plan on being there.
Oh, get in touch with Andre. I'll give you his number when this is over.
Okay.
And listen, you're talking about age. It's only a number. Mine's unlisted.
That's a fair approach, Doug. It's a fair.
Yeah, use that, Marshall. It's a really good one.
All right, Jim, how about you?
Doing well. Biggest thing for the division this month has been the Manchester show. Put on matinee and evening, and at an old historic playhouse in Manchester. And the afternoon was sold out, and the evening was about 80–90% sold out. So it was a good turnout. And I had a chance to meet Dick at the Afterglow. So
perfect.
Mary and I were there for the afternoon show, and that cabaret setup was pretty nice. If you pay a little extra, you got a little seat up in the front. You got a free beverage and a little charcuterie plate, and it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that worked out well.
I was fortunate enough to have an extraordinary experience with the Clementones. Debbie and I picked them up 11 o'clock Sunday morning, went straight to brunch, and 2 of them had never seen chicken and waffles on a menu before. So they got the chicken and waffles, and he grabbed the little cat, the poor thing is, I'm gonna put some syrup on my waffles. So we went candlepin bowling later that afternoon, and then I toured them around Boston by myself. We walked about 5 miles in downtown Boston.
Wow.
So
it
was an extraordinary event. And then we had an event Monday night at Glenn's house too. And I've got video of lots of stuff I'm going to post. So look for it.
Awesome.
Okay. I mentioned something that some of you might not know what it stands for, but the Pappies organization is an organization that we put together here in the Maritimes. We're spread out more than you guys are a lot. We don't get together all that much. So we started this Pappies organization, and it's present and past presidents of your society is what it stands for. And you have to have been a chapter president to be a member. And over the years, we've put shows on at universities and things like that. And we ended up making some money. And it was a good thing we did, because now we'll be able to put this convention on this year and finance it, which no chapter right now is in a position to do. So
great.
That's what Pappies is.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Tim, was that it for you?
That's it. Yep.
All right, Stephen.
Relatively quiet here in the Mountain Division. I've heard from Tim a couple of times, and Saratoga is doing well and growing a little bit at a time, and looking forward to Vision contest. Gary Glidden's gonna surprise a few folks with our course, I think. And I got to reach out and stir up the division managers the division presidents a little bit, and see what they're really up to. That's about it.
Okay, thanks. Anything for the good of the district? Hearing none, any objections to adjourning?
I so move.
All right,
Sounds good.
thanks, everybody. And I'll be in touch with all the board members, talk about our one-on-one meetings. And looking forward to a productive February. Talk to y'all soon.
Sure.
Bye.
Be careful of that sun, Mike.
It's a lot stronger down there, that's for sure. Hey, Doug, can I get Andre's number?
I don't have it right here, but I'll get it over to you. I will
Okay.
send it to you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Matt, that link is on the contact page. So if you scroll down to, he's trying to find the sign up link.
Yeah, it's somewhat camouflaged there.
Yeah, if you go to the, I think it's at the bottom. It's like the
Here, I'll
bottom
show you again.
of every website page. What is that called?
This
A
one?
footer? Yeah.
I got everyone in Harmony, like, see that one. Oh, the
This is
see
the only place I
contact
found
page?
the email list link is right here. Is that the one you're looking for?
Yes, I think that's the one. Yep.
So you put anydistrict.org/contact-us.
Is that what it goes to? I don't know.
No, that's what's up there. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it goes right to something from MailChimp. If you do that, sign up.
And then
form.
where does that form go? I wonder.
It looks like it goes right into the MailChimp database.
Yeah, I'll go direct.
But I mean, oh, okay. We have access to the MailChimp.
Yeah, Sebi's managing that.
That's good. Oh, Steve.
So yeah, so Mike, probably what's gonna need though is Sevi's gonna need access to the member center so that he can get the list to send it like just to all the members that way too. Although I don't know if Bill, that's a lot of people to put on one email. I don't know how Steve was doing it.
Yeah, and I don't know how
you
he
can't
was
put 1,000
maintaining it.
email addresses at Gmail.
Yeah. I mean, presumably we had at some point an up-to-date list of members, and I don't know how he was filtering out new members out of what you get out of Member Center, because I mean, all we can get is that spreadsheet download, right? It's not super useful.
Well, I mean, that's how, like, when I send stuff for HOD, it's like I filter it down to get the 3 officers I need, and then I take that list, and that's who I send email to. But that works because there's maybe only 120, 130 names. If you were to get over 1,000, I think everybody would. Yeah, he must have had another system technique, or maybe he typed him into Mail. No, he couldn't have typed him into MailChimp. So
I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
I'm gonna end the meeting. See you.
Bye.